Thanks so much for the introduction, and that was a great talk by Christian. It actually rolls into what I'm going to present. Um, what we're talking about today is WuXi Apptec's virtual compound space, which is called Galaxy. So, just a little bit of background on virtual libraries. The older way of doing things is enumeration of virtual libraries. Enumeration and filtering of static virtual libraries, it does require a massive amount of effort. There's always issues with storage and parsing of data, and it eventually reaches limitations. Um, so new computational methods and data, virtual data sets contain billions of compounds and require labor-intensive curation and storage. The ability to mine these massive amounts of data is limited by infrastructure constraints, storage, computational power. Um, difficult, Difficulties do exist in parsing and screening efficiency. Clustering algorithms are not efficient enough to deal with any list greater than 10 million compounds. And this is kind of rolling into what Christian was presenting. Um, the reach of this is often limited to mid-sized and large pharma companies with cheminformatic and data sciences. So the smaller biotechs usually outsource this, or they don't have the tools that can actually do this efficiently. So med chemists often have to rely on the scientists to add new designs, to aid in new designs. Um, Structure and similarity searches, substructure, similarity, as well as virtual screening of libraries can be limited by computational capacity. So 1,000 CPUs can process around 1,000 compounds a second, which brings your runtime to around 11 days, which is kind of what Christian was speaking to. So we decided to partner with BioSolveIT and create the WuXi Apptec virtual space, also known as Galaxy. So we took BioSolve's algorithms, world-class platform, and married it with our extensive drug discovery experience. We had at least 15 years of reaction data so that we can really target the synthetic feasibility. Uh, we're very well known in synthetic chemistry and library expertise, especially in our design of scaffolds and building blocks. Uh, if you notice, WuXi is pretty good at different types of cores, spiro cores, stuff that's been presented lately in meetings as well as literature such as JMedChem and Journal of Computational Chemistry. So by combining the de novo design with the synthetic feasibility, we came up with the Galaxy space. So how we created the Galaxy space was in conjunction with Christian and his team. We had a set of reaction protocols that rolls into a portion of what BioSolve has is Colibri, which is a toolkit for chemical space creation. We created what's called the Galaxy space. It is around 2 billion compounds, 2.1 billion compounds right now. It is actually growing larger. And then using their F trees searching capability, we created the space so that we can search rapidly as opposed to enumerating large amounts and running into storage and searching capability. This is just kind of an overview of the technology that Christian had just presented versus enumeration in the sense of older type uh, older type enumeration. That's basically what I can say. So as far as exploration versus enumeration, you can see that space navigation from F trees is it's a rapid way of doing it. They use a topological pharmacophore, fuzzy similarity, scaffold hopping capabilities. Spaces can be into the billions, and this can run behind your firewall on standard PCs. And the files are not large at all. And it allows the end user, even the end user bench chemist or medicinal chemist, to actually design and move around virtual spaces so that they could push their chemistry into a new realm. When we started out to design these, the WuXi Apptec virtual space, also known as Galaxy, we took into account a couple different parameters. The design and synthetic feasibility. We have unique scaffolds, templates, and building blocks. We have 15 years of reaction data, which was pushed into the actual tool to give us around a 70 to 80% feasibility of the actual compound being synthesized. We took into account physical chemical properties. We calculated properties for multiple target profiles, molecular weight, log P, TSPA, donors, acceptors, rotatable bonds, sp3 character. The synthesis and delivery, we have a dedicated virtual library team with a 4 to 8 week delivery time. There's a wide-ranging internal diversity among this, and I'll get into that a little bit later. There's a limited overlap of other commercial library spaces. And we also push in computational filters, Payne's, Rios, Lipinski's, RO5, 3. And we also can utilize customized filters from the client if applicable. We can do this for the client, or the client can actually do this on their own behind their own firewall. So Galaxy was designed in 3 phases. Phase 1 was what's called a building block design. So we took 90,000 commercially available filter building blocks, 38 different reaction types, 1 to 2 synthetic steps, and we've made a decent amount of these already, and we have around a 75% success rate with a 4 to 6 week lead time. Phase 2 is the WuXi template-based design. So it's the novel WuXi catalog scaffolds with the building blocks, additional reaction types from phase 1, 2 to 3 synthetic steps, and we're hitting around 80% success rate in a 6 to 8 week lead time. Phase 3 is what we're currently on, and phase 3 will be distributed into 3 parts, and those 3 parts I will discuss later. But we have over 20,000 drug-like cores based on literature references. We're hoping to expand up to 100 different reaction types, and that's usually 1 to 3 synthetic steps. I don't have any data on the success rate or lead time yet, as we had just rolled out about 600 million compounds of this and are just starting to sift through the data. So phase 1 is the building block design. As I previously mentioned, there's about 90,000 commercially available BBs. It includes all the WuXi Apptec catalog building blocks. There were 38 different reaction types, 128 well-validated reaction protocols. We trimmed this portion of the space down to 50 million virtual compounds, again with a 75% success rate, delivery 4 to 6 weeks. You can see on the bottom left the reaction types employed. And if you look on the right, there's just some representative examples of what we used and the profiles for the actual products. This is just a continuation of phase 1, showing that we looked at oxidiazoles and the functionalities that are prevalent in certain small molecules and drug candidates. As you can see, PCT 124 for Duchenne, azalsertan for treatment of hypertension, molamine, and radavigor, which I'm sure I'm butchering that, but as you can see, the WuXi Apptec designed virtual compounds based on this were the parallel strategy as you see below. There were 5.8 virtual compounds made from the 124 oxidiazole and about 700 million or 700,000, sorry, from the 134 oxidiazole. And you can see some representative examples with the physical properties below. Phase 2 of the actual space was designed using diverse templates. The templates are the Spiro aliphatic rings, fused bicyclics, fused aromatics, bicyclic aliphatic, and fused aromatic aliphatic rings. Uh, as I said before, WuXi is pretty experienced in this area. So you can see some representative examples of the actual templates that were used. And if you look on to the right side of the screen, you see the representative building blocks, and these are all from the actual WuXi catalog. So by combining these two spaces, we came up with phase two of, or these two components, we came up with phase two of the WuXi Apptec template design. This is another representative example of the WuXi Apptec phase two template design. As you can see, the examples of left and right versus the diverse chemotypes on the right as well. There is about 1.7 billion of the virtual design prepared, and we also have 1,000 plus more templates that are currently in design as we speak right now. Part three is a drug-like core based virtual library. That is split into three parts. Part one would be the target-based CAD design, which is currently in development. The FDA new chemical entity analogs, which is also currently in development, and the WuXi drug-like templates, which we have already made about 600 million compounds. And when I say made, we've already designed 600 million compounds. So if you look at the drug-like templates right here, you can look at the drug-like cores into two steps, into a key intermediate, and then to the virtual library compounds. And the designs were based off of apixaban, udenafil, and omragliptin. So let me just go back real fast. As you can see, these are prevalent within the WuXi templates, and these are the virtual libraries that have been designed from it. This is just one example. There are many more. And if you would like any more information, please let me know at the end of this. The actual physical properties of the WuXi Apptec virtual space or Galaxy are the distribution is shown on the left between molecular weight, C block P, rotatable bonds, donors, acceptors, and polar surface area. We did a clustering using the Bemis Merkle framework, which is basically a popular method for removing side chains and an algorithm to generate clusters. We covered about 10,000 frameworks, the size of each framework, 1 to about 1,300 compounds. Most frequently occurring is 79 frameworks, only account for about 24% of the whole database. So it's a pretty diverse set of compounds. These are just some examples. As you know, Gleevec is a marketed drug for oral chemotherapy. And if you were to search it through the actual Infinity using the F-trees algorithm, we came up with a bunch of different designs depending on their similarity, as you can see up in the top. We also found that there are new chemotypes. So there were 45 analogs from the chemotype on the bottom left and about 15 analogs from the chemotype on the bottom right. We did not show any docking here, but you feel free if you get a chance to demo the actual space to push this towards any of your docking programs. And I think Christian has one as well called CSAR that could really show you the different poses of these new molecules within the receptor for Gleevec. Same thing for Lipitor. We did a different type of arrangement, basically searching through the actual galaxy space. New chemotype was identified, and we call that the 032 series. So as you can see, utilizing what's on the market and searching through this virtual space, you can come up with some pretty similar quote unquote hits that could be made or virtually docked using different types of docking programs. This is another example of it, Abacavir, which is treatment for Hep C, utilizing the algorithm and searching through the Galaxy space, we came up with the 320 series on the left, 138 compounds, and the 126 series on the right, which is 72 compounds. There were over 1,000 similar compounds that we explored. These were the two most prevalent. So just to give you an idea, the collaboration with BioSolve, there's a couple different access options for this. BioSolveIT has interfaces for 9, Pipeline Pilot, and Mo. And the key is that the searches can be performed behind the end user's firewall. So you can use a graphical user interface, which is basically Infinity, and that can be downloaded from BioSolve's website. There are also command line tools, as well as KNIME, which is the open source platform that has a lot of chemical toolkits that are free. And then as well as Pipeline Pilot, which is BioVia salt systems. As I go through this, I'm going to show you how fast you can actually search. So if I were to click this and click this, you can see the two embedded videos. Obviously, this is a compound that everybody knows, and it's going through the search algorithms right now. And on the right side of the screen, you can see how it can be configured in KNIME as well. To search through these billions of compounds, it literally takes less than a minute, depending on the different parameters that you set in. And everything can be modified to adjust similarity or to refine your query. If you want to get these compounds synthesized, you can download these into an SD file and send it over to our synthesis team. And it gives the synthesis team the exact parameters that they need to follow to complete the synthesis of these compounds. As I said, results are stored neatly in this SD file for synthesis. You can also use that SD file for docking purposes, as well as deconstruction with your own library. This is a case study that was done recently, and this actually encompasses all of WuXi's capabilities. Well, not the entire portion of WuXi's capabilities because they're pretty broad, but at least from IDSU and the Research Services Division. Galaxy was searched. We had 2,000 compounds by similarity in several minutes. The WuXi CAD team used AutoDock and ranking. CSU, which is the Chemistry Services Unit, had a compound synthesis, took about 2 weeks. They were delivered to the client who performed the assays, and then WuXi CSU followed up with library design and synthesis. Compounds 2 and 7, as you can see, were a new chemotype. Compounds 4 and 7 were based more on the bioassay result. Follow up with about 100 compounds that were designed with new chemotype, and more active compounds were actually found. So this is a case study of how to use soup to nuts, searching through the virtual library and coming back to WuXi CSU to have everything made, and the client was very happy. COVID-19 is something that everybody is aware of at this point. We had a client approach us regarding this. They used the virtual space to get about 6,000 virtual hits against SARS-CoV-2. The chemistry service unit synthesized about 600 compounds in high ranking. Took about 4 to 5 weeks. We also made 3 copies of each compound, and 1 copy was delivered to Crelux for bioactivity studies. And as you can see, the different docking modes in the bottom of the screen. Access to the virtual space can be achieved by a couple different methods. Obviously, this was made with Galaxy and BioSolve. So Infinity can be downloaded with the space from the BioSolve website, and a free trial for 2 weeks is graciously given by Christian and his team. We also found that after the creation of this, a lot of clients would also like the space and files in Smiles format, so they can use their internal software programs and algorithms. Uh, it's quite large for us to give that, but we do provide it in a compressed file, which is about 20 gigabytes, as opposed to Christian's, which is about 16 megabytes, and the similarity searching can be done in less than a minute. Another option that we have for the Galaxy virtual space is creating custom spaces for the client. And the client can do this either in conjunction with our CAD team and CSU, or they can do it themselves. We offer the building block files from WuXi Apptec, so the customer can actually create the customized space with their in-house scaffolds or templates, and then use the F-tree similarities fuzzy searching to come up with the actual compounds that would be in the space. However, we cannot guarantee that we can make all of these, but this is something that has been asked for, and a couple clients have actually done this in the past with some great results. So the Galaxy team is here, as you see. Yen Zhu, the executive director and the head of the library business, along with Yugao Zia and Lingbo Yu. They have 17 years of experience in library design and synthesis. They have delivered more than 3 million compounds. They have a dedicated purification team that accelerates the library production, mass-based purification. The typical timeline for these focus libraries or virtual libraries is 4 to 8 weeks, and can be as short as 8 calendar days, depending on the chemistry. And the availability of the diverse reagents to facilitate design and expedite production. And that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoy the presentation, and we'll send this back to Dave.